is John Goddard. I'm sitting here. I've got the great pleasure of sitting here with Doug Weed. Now, for those of you who know, and almost everyone knows who Doug Weed is, he is probably one of the most famous names in network marketing for a very simple reason, is that he's been out there for over 35 years now, and he has spoken to more people than anyone in network marketing. He has also written more books on the subject of network marketing that have sold more copies than anyone else out there also. So it's a great pleasure to have Doug with us here today. And I hope you all have pens and papers ready to take notes, or maybe to take notes directly on your computers, because it's not every day that we have the chance to talk to someone of Doug's stature. For those of you who may not know, Doug is also a noted presidential historian. He has written 2 books on presidents whenever it's President's Day or Flag Day or other things like that, but even more commonly, you can see Doug being interviewed on Fox News, on CNN, on ABC, NBC, CBS, and all other 3-lettered networks. He is always regularly out there. They seem to have insights from him that almost nobody else has. Well, if the news media and the president, who has used Doug as a personal advisor, he was personal advisor actually to 2 presidents, find his advice justifiable, find it interesting, well, how much more important is it going to be for all of us to listen to Doug? Doug, welcome to this The Edge call, and I'm going to ask you a very simple question that people always come up to me and ask me. They say, why, after 35 years, did Doug Weed choose Xango?
John, your introduction was way over the top. But I have listened a lot, and I will say that from traveling all over the world and listening to some of these networking giants, I've sure seen some of the things that they've done that have made their lives successful, and I hope I can follow in their footsteps and learn, and I'm glad to share some of the things that I'm learning now in this ongoing study of networking and why it works. Now, what was the question again?
Well, why did you choose, among all other network marketing companies, why did you choose Xango?
Well, I had a friend who got in Xango who was older than me. There aren't too many people in the world who are older than me, so I watched him with fascination as he left the company that he'd been in all of his life, and I'd been in the same company for 30 years, and I watched him leave that company, get into Xango, and it just absolutely stunned me. It was like a high wire act to me. I had the kind of fascination you would of someone walking on a wire across Niagara Falls or between the World Trade Centers as they did back years ago when they were still standing.
Why is that?
Because he's older and he's starting all over again and in another company. Why can't he rebuild in the company he's in easier when he's got a little foundation than he is in starting brand new from scratch? What's he doing? And within 3 years, he was making more money than I was, and I'd been in for 30 years. That was a wake-up call for me, and he got into Xango, and I watched others, and I quickly came to this conclusion. You can make more money in less time, with less work, with fewer people in Xango than any other networking marketing opportunity in the world. It does take people, and it does take time, and it does take work, but it takes less of that than any other networking opportunity I've seen.
Now, it still takes work. It still takes all these efforts, but why does it take less time? Why does it take fewer people?
Well, for one thing, the payout is greater. The payout is 50%. Now, I didn't pay any attention to payout because the company I was in, we made most of our money off of the selling of educational tools and CDs and having functions more than we did off the product. So we got pretty lazy, and our compensation plan began to evolve into a nightmare if that's how you were making your money. So it was about a 30% payout, and it probably wasn't, if we had all the facts, completely a 30% payout because we had breakage, we had multiple entrance fees, we had so many little ways in which a company can cheat the payout that I don't know what the payout was, but they publicly say that it was 30% but there's all these other factors that could have dragged it down.
You mentioned breakage. Tell me about breakage.
Well, let me just finish this thought by saying, so if you're getting 50% as opposed to 30% or less for doing the same work, just for starters, no wonder it feels easier because you're getting rewarded almost twice for the same amount of work. And every time you pick up that phone and make a contact, every time you talk to someone about the business, you just think, this is like twice. I'm making 2 phone calls instead of 1. I'm sponsoring 2 people instead of 1. So that's one of the reasons why. Now, you asked about breakage. Breakage is one of the dirty little secrets of MLM, and I don't want to just get nasty about MLM because all business and all professions have their deals. You know, whether you're a professional in medicine or law, a lot of the ways that people make money are a little bit different than what the layman suspects, and that's true in business too. And a lot of retail business, there's scandals all the time. We find there's lead paint on the toys, and those dirty, rotten retailers didn't care if our kids died, that they could sell them a toy truck. So there are scandals and there are problems. Here's Toyota with this great recall, and it took them several months to figure out that there was something seriously happened, and they didn't pay attention to the warnings. So I don't want to pick on MLMs. I do want to say that the founders of Xango strove to develop an MLM that would be fair and that would put money in the pockets of its networkers. And breakage is one of the dirty little secrets of MLM. It's a way that a company can cheat its own payout. So the company says, our payout, and by payout they mean that the percentage of money that comes from sales that they give back to the field in the compensation plan. But they can cheat that payout by breakage. And what happens is, if they decide that someone has violated a policy, they can kick them out, and that money stays in that position. It stays right where it was. If that person was earning a lot of money, that position keeps earning that money, but it doesn't go to the person above them. It doesn't go to the person sideways. It doesn't go anywhere. It goes into that pocket, that Bermuda Triangle, and that position becomes the ownership of the company. So in effect, the company is paying itself. So the company says, we've got a payout of 30% or 40% or whatever it may be, but some of their money through breakage is actually going to the field, but part of the field is them. And it is often the case, you'll find, if you study network marketing and get to know some of the leaders, that many of the companies will kick out someone who becomes fully compensated because that's a lot of money. That person is earning a lot of money. They don't want all that money leaving the company. They want it to stay with them.
So on one side, there's an advantage to the company to kick somebody out and get breakage. On the other side, from the field's point of view, the leaders live in constant fear of being kicked out. So in Xango, since you don't have that, not only is the payout better, but there's no fear involved because there's no incentive for the company to get rid of you.
Well, it's even better than that because this, what is it called, the global bonus pool? It's even better than that. Yes, you're right. The fact that they pay out a full 50% and there's no breakage means that they don't make any money if they kick you out. Now, if you're a serial killer, you'll probably get kicked out, but they're not going to benefit from it because they're paying out 50% no matter who's in. The money will just go to everybody else. And this global bonus pool is even an additional factor to give an incentive for people to work together, because once you reach a certain level in Xango, you're going to benefit from the whole corporate increase. And I'm amazed. Someone like Sherman Unkefer, who's a great earner, or Priscilla Harris, and some of these people, they're Ed and Sandy Cohen, they're so nice to me, and they're so nice to everybody else. And I'm thinking, it kind of takes your breath away. I'm thinking, boy, what's going on in this company? Where does this culture come from? And I think that's part of where it comes from. It comes from the fact that they, Dwayne Dyer, he benefits. Everybody else in the global bonus benefits. So there are these incentives built into plan to help put money in the pockets of their distributors.
So, and with Xango, it's truly a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, it is. It is. Pretty exciting, too.
So, tell me, Let me ask you a couple of questions in terms of what do you think a person should do to get started?
Well, I think they need to work with their team. You need to work together. The person who invited you to get involved, the 1Ks and the 5Ks that are you're working with, the 20Ks, the premiers, the 100Ks, if you're lucky enough to be working with a 200K or 500K, but you need to make a list of people that you know, not people you think that are going to get involved, but people that you know. And you need to refine that list. What is their interest? Are they interested in building a business and making extra money in this economy? Or is there interest in the health nutritional products? Our products, as you know, one of our products has a 85% efficacy in 3 months. It's a powerful product. It has changed my home. It's another reason why I'm in Xango, because their products have a compelling narrative or story associated with each one, which takes the burden off of selling. You don't have to sell. You just tell a story, and they sell. And another product has an 82%, is it, or 81% efficacy in 1 week. So that's a remarkable product. I think there's a new study. I don't know if we can talk about it yet, the Mayo Clinic study on that first product.
Sure. People can look it up. There are YouTubes on the Mayo Clinic that talks about the benefits of mangosteen and specifically talks about the mangosteen, the way it's used in a specific proprietary formula by Xango.
By Xango, there you go. Okay, so you make that list, and the second thing you do is refine it, and the third thing you do is rehearse what you're going to say, although the best thing to say is, hey, you need to talk to my friend and get him on the line with someone else, a 1K, a 5K, a 20K, a 500K if you can. Get them on the line with someone else and promote them. Let them talk. And finally, when you're talking about the products and you're getting started, you got to make sure you're honest and comfortable in what you say. There's no reason. The facts are so good. You know, if you go to Xgoprotraining.com, you will get a long list of how Xango is different from other companies. All you have to do is speak the truth. So don't exaggerate it, and you should be comfortable with your approach. And you get that from rehearsal, because if you're not comfortable with a pair of shoes, you won't wear them. And if you're not comfortable with what you're saying, you need to change it till you are. And that's the hardest work you do in MLM. I know it's hard to do, but the good news is once you do it, once you just lock yourself in your bedroom and think it through and come up with some words that are you, that don't violate your personality, that you feel comfortable with, once you've done that work, then you just run it through your list. And I guarantee you there's no way you're going to get to the end of that list without launching an MLM business, especially if you work with a team, if you work with people who have built the business and are helping you. And don't try to do it all yourself, okay?
Now, Doug, you cover a lot of these things on a CD that's available on the Xgopro site, which is called Why I Chose Xango. But can you give us a sort of just a small snippet of what you talk about? So many people have come up to me and said that you changed their lives just with one phrase, and that phrase is under ordinary circumstances. Can you give us a little bit of a snippet of how you initiate a third party on that?
Well, you have to give, in my opinion, this is just my humble opinion, and it's the way I operate, but you have to give someone, I believe, a unique reason for getting into network marketing. You don't just come to them and say, well, we're a great company, and, you know, that doesn't make them feel great, you know, and we've got great products. That doesn't make them feel great. And I know someone who's made a lot of money. That doesn't make them feel great. But if you say under ordinary circumstances, I wouldn't even be talking about this to you, but it so happens that, and then you give them a unique reason why they should get in this business with you. And there are different reasons for different people. But everybody has one unique thing about them, and that's their line of sponsorship. Because it's like a fingerprint. You know, no two fingerprints are exactly the same, and our lines of sponsorship are slightly different. And if we learn how to promote our line of sponsorship, that is the leaders in our group who are working with us, if we learn how to promote them and we're their friend, then we're saying under ordinary circumstances, I wouldn't bother you with this, but I'm working with John Gossage. And John Gossage has generated $2 billion in sales, in network marketing industry in his lifetime. That is a remarkable statement. And under ordinary circumstances, maybe you wouldn't be interested. I'm sorry. But here is someone who's a master of network marketing, and I want you to meet him tonight. He's going to be on this telephone call with me so that we promote each other. When we were little kids, we'd play hot potato, and I'd throw the potato to you, you'd throw it back to me, and I'd throw it back to you. And if you use promotion the same way, I promote you, you promote me, I promote, the quicker you can promote me, the quicker I can get it back to you. And if we can learn how to work as a team, better three, but if all you got is two, that's fine. But two or three, you will be much more effective in network marketing, and it will be much less painful, and it takes out the pain of sponsoring. People don't like to sponsor because they're afraid they're going to get rejected. But if you don't sponsor, you just get somebody on the phone with your buddy, then it's up to your buddy to sponsor them. And the buddy doesn't feel pressure because your colleague that you're working with in your team, they don't know who your friends are. They're not intimidated. They just go, they give the spiel. And you'll be surprised how often it works. So that takes some of the sting and some of the fear out of network marketing. You don't have to sponsor. You just have to promote somebody else.
On some of the Doug Wheat CDs that we have available, Doug talks about how that has been used in politics. And he even talks about how he wound up sponsoring a governor who needed to use that very third-party principle to build his network marketing business because it's the only way to build. So you'll be able to listen to it. Speaking of CDs, Doug, I know you've always been a great proponent of allowing things to do the work for you. And CDs are one of the key tools to use for a network marketer, right?
Absolutely. If you go to that, again, to that Xgopro training.com website, you'll see Tommy Johnson and his beautiful wife on the front page, and go a little bit deeper, you'll see Ron Bryce. By the way, Ron and Marlene Bryce. Ron, if you're on the phone tonight, I want to thank you for your Christmas gift. John just gave it to me tonight. So anyway, that was lovely, that book. I'm going to take it home now. Anyway, yeah, you need to see. Anyway, there's a picture on the back that you pass Dwayne and Melody Dyer, and you come to this picture of Priscilla Harrison sitting with her team around the table, and it says, you need CDs. And you do. Now, in the company I was in, we made all of our money off of CDs. The way you've got it set up here in Xango, you've got Xgopro. You pay $40 a month, or what is it, something like that?
$29.95.
$29.95 a month. You get a CD every week. You get a full subscription to Success Magazine. You get a website with extremely complex and useful and powerful user-friendly software that in itself would cost you a lot of money every month to be able to build your business. So, but these CDs are everything. Why? Because they work for you. They're like employees. That you just put them to work. You give them to somebody, and they do the talking. And they talk for you, and they teach for you, and they motivate for you. So you want to build your business fast? You have hundreds of CDs working for you. By the way, I've noticed something that in Xango, because it's so new for some people to be on a regular CD program, they don't understand you can go back and order older CDs that help. Right. And there's a library of CDs. In building my network, we didn't make much money. We made our money off the CDs, but the only way we could build our networks, and we built them up into the thousands because we didn't make a lot of money, so we had to have a lot of people. But the way we did it, John, is we had an archive of CDs, and our job was we became librarians of CDs and tapes back then. We would just do an airline pilot. We'd know which CD to pull out. Someone who cleans houses, we'd grab some CD. A woman who cleaned houses who's now a millionaire. A woman by herself, single, raising a family, pick the right CD. And it's the same with Xgopro. As you listen to these CDs, don't forget them, archive them, don't throw them away, keep them. You'll go back and draw on them, and they will work for you years later. there'll be a CD that's still working for you. And the great thing about CDs is they're not that expensive. They're very cheap. You don't have to buy them hamburgers. You don't have to buy them an airline ticket to get them there. You don't have to remember their birthday. You can insult them. They're just always positive. You know, sometimes you're on, sometimes you aren't. Sometimes your attitude's good, sometimes it isn't. The CD's attitude is always good. So they're just the perfect employee, and they don't talk back. And so I'd say get lots of CDs and make them work.
Okay. Now, besides the CDs, what do you need?
Well, you need to go to the functions. You can tell us what the next function coming up is. It's big, but you need to go to the functions. And the reason you need to go to the functions is the amount of time you save. You say, well, the function's expensive. Well, I'll tell you what's expensive, not going to the function. Because they go to the function, and if you get somebody there, you've equaled almost 6 months of work. You'd have to go out to eat with them and sit and hold their hand and listen to their stories and help them buy automobile tires. And you've got 6 months of work that you'd have to do to try to get them in the right attitude, in the right place, and the right knowledge to build the business. You can do it a lot quicker if you just talk them into going to Las Vegas, where we're having our next function. You get them into that function, they get blown away, they come home, and they explode without your permission.
So it's important not just to go to a function, but to promote it to all your people, right?
Oh, absolutely. The reason you want to go, they aren't going to go if you don't go. And if you go, you have a better chance that they'll go. And then you want to promote it to your people. You want them to come. Now listen, some people will say, well, I love my people, and they don't have a lot of money, and they can barely pay for this, and they can barely pay for that. I don't want them to have to go to the function. Well, if you really care about your people, your job is to give them the truth, not to make those decisions for them. They've got hundreds of people to tell them why not to go to the function. Their mom and dad tell them why not to go. The wife tells the husband, we better do this. The husband tells the wife, well, let's paint the utility room. And they all have reasons to stay home. And people will line up in a long line to tell your friends and your downline why they should not go to Las Vegas. You are the only person in the world who's been given the assignment to tell them why to go. And if you waste your time sympathizing with why they should stay home, you've missed your position. Your position is to believe in them. Now, it's true, if they're not going to do anything in life and they're going to be a complete failure and they're just going to watch TV, then they shouldn't go to Las Vegas. They should stay home and start watching TV, because that's what their life will be. But who are you and who am I to decide who's going to be a success and who's going to be a failure? That's not our job. Our job is to give the people in our organization the truth. And the truth is they need to be in Las Vegas. They make the decision. They say no, they said no. But we shouldn't say no. Don't you say no. You say yes. You say, come with me. Let's go. Let me see if I can brainstorm with you and figure out a way. You must go because you believe in them. And if you don't believe in them, they don't have any hope. If you do believe in them, they have hope. And if they go to Las Vegas, they will be turned on. And they will come home and they will build their business. So functions are critical.
Wow, yeah. You know, and we're going to have this next function over in Vegas where it's going to be the regional and follow the Meeting by $1 Billion Basics, where we're going to have 6 different panels of 4 leaders who have actually done it. And they'll be speaking about how to contact people, how to sponsor people, how to follow up. There's going to be 6 different topics we're going to be covering. And also we're going to be having a secret, we have to say secret right now, speaker, but that's just going to blow you away. Not next week. No, in Vegas.
Also. A billionaire. Oh, yeah. Well, next week we have on this webinar a secret speaker.
We do, also. But
yeah, I know what you're saying.
We're going to have somebody, we can't divulge his name yet, but let me put it this way. He is a top earner in a 10-figure company. Now, do you want to find out what it is? 10 figures? It means $1 billion or higher, right? It means between $1 and $9 billion a year. So he's a top income earner. He's going to be coming to talk to us and tell us why, from his perspective, he, being a top earner in that type of company, why Xango is the future. So if you want your people to be convinced, I mean, that's going to be the place to go. Now, okay, let's go on. Besides the CDs, besides the function, what else do you need?
Well, you need a team. So you need to get with your 500K, if they're not nearby, your 200K, your 100K, your 20K, you need to get with your 5K. You need to get with someone who's committed to the business, who's got some experience in it, and you need to work with them and promote each other and set up three-way phone calls, set up three-way meetings so that you're working together, so that you're not alone. Quit trying to do this by yourself. Work with a team and work with someone else that will help you. It's just like getting in shape or losing weight or anything else that we do. You do it together as a team. You'll help each other. You'll be more committed. And the final thing, if we have time to say it, John, is I just have to say this for the group at large, is there are many principles of networking, but one of the most powerful and important is you pass negative upline and you pass positive downline. You don't pour out your doubts and your questions and your concerns. Now, our instinct is the opposite. We want the people above us who can help us, and the people on our team that have the most money, we don't want them to hear any negative because we want their help. But that's where the negative should go, to those people above us, higher pins. If you've got a concern or a doubt, share it with them and let them respond. But down to the people you're just, I hate to use up and down, I'm sorry, but the people you're bringing in to your team, those people should get positive. They should get love, they need nurture, and they need your support. And this is a principle you just cannot avoid. You will destroy your network if you don't listen to it.
Let's finish up with this final question, Doug. All we hear you do, whenever anybody listens to you, what you do all the time, Doug, is you promote. You promote the business, you promote others, you promote systems, you promote structure, you promote CDs. You spend your whole life promoting. Is that what the business is all about?
Well, yeah, there you go. That's what it's all about. It's promoting. It's promoting product. It's promoting people. It's promoting a dream. It's promoting an opportunity. And what is promoting? Promoting is just talking about it. It's just thinking about it and talking about it. That's promoting. If you just talk about the product, you don't have to you don't have to be exploding with enthusiasm. You'll share your share of product. And I have friends, extremely shy friends, who no one would consider them dynamic, who have built gigantic networks. I spoke for 90,000 people in the Hoosier Dorm, and the leader of that big organization was so shy he could hardly talk to a crowd. I said, "Get out there! You're people they want to hear from you." He said, "I hired you. You go speak." He was nervous. He didn't like that. So yes, you got to be a promoter. Do you have to be a loudmouth like me, or talkative, or a bundle of nerves? No, but you do have to be able to speak up when you need to.
Okay. Now, thank you, Doug, for all this. Now, people will have listened to you tonight, but if you were to tell them the one thing they need to do tonight and tomorrow and the next day after listening to you, the one thing, do they go and talk to people in their line of sponsorship? What do they put together? Do they start following a certain system? What do they do?
Well, I would say, first of all, that you should get an Xgopro if you're not an Xgopro, because the retention rate in Xgopro, the last time I looked, it was somewhere around 98%. Is it something similar to that?
No, it's not that high. It's around between 92 and 94%.
Okay, between 92 and 94%. Now, outside of Xgopro, I don't know what the retention rate would be. It would be very small by comparison. I don't know if it'd be 20% or in what range it would be. I'll just say this, that if you do all the work to sponsor someone, you want them to stay. You don't want them to come in the front door and go out the back door. So if you get them onto Xgopro, they will grow at what the pace of Xgopro, not at your pace, but at Xgopro. So if they want to get going and you're busy, and I'm sorry, but I've got to take off a few weeks, and my daughter's getting married, and they can still grow and still build their business if they're ready, because they're getting the CDs, they're getting, the book, John, First Things First. That's been revolutionary in my little group in the Washington, D.C. area, and we've got that. And now this ASAP thing is dynamic. I went to Toronto to speak last weekend or the weekend before, and everybody was talking about ASAP. Perhaps you can explain it, but I describe it as a combination teaching manual and schedule, and it's like a boss for me. I can open it up. It tells me kind of what to do, and I have to respond to it. You can't just ignore it. It'll have you make a list of that or make a list of this. And how would you describe ASAP?
Well, we're getting this from a lot of people. I got another really nice email just a bit earlier today from Jim and Candy Webb also, and Candy has started this whole accountability system that has been highly successful, and she's saying this is wonderful, everything is growing, and she's using ASAP, and first things first, within the accountability system, because you need tools within that type of structure also. It's interesting because I got that from Candy, I got that from a lot of other people, and they say it seems that right now in network marketing, it's silent, it's quiet. In our industry, not much is happening, except maybe for a couple of companies that are falling like rocks. But Xango is growing everywhere I turned around. I get slammed just with emails today, people telling me about how much they grew February on January. And February is just a short month. It's just a 28-day month. And yet it has grown tremendously compared to January. And the first 2 days of March, from what people have been telling me, the orders are flowing in. People are getting on the ADP again. There's a whole rebirth. Somebody told me this is just like the beginning. It's just like what Xango was like when it was the beginning. Well, if you can have several beginnings in your lifetime, you must be doing something right. Because the beginning essentially means the following thing. It means youthfulness, and yet you have the wisdom of already being in existence for a few years, and you have survived those first few crucial years. So this is unique, Doug, in terms of Xango, compared to everything you've seen, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And both of these books, most people now have First Things First. If they don't, they need to get it. But the ASAP is now complementary. They're like two bookends, we're on our way. We're seeing growth just as you're seeing growth, and it's happening all over the world, John, all over the Xango world, not just Xango Nation.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, you travel a lot all over Europe, the former CIS, Russia, everywhere, and people know you everywhere. And this is getting everybody excited. There's a buzz starting because of your presence, because you're on board. There are people from all sorts of other companies, top earners, who are knocking on Xango's door right now. So all of you guys out there, after you listen to this, this is the time to start getting active, to start talking to your upline, to start talking to your line sponsorship and getting things going. It's not just about, you can say, but I don't know some of those top earners in other companies. You may not, but you may sponsor somebody who may sponsor somebody who may sponsor somebody who may know them. And that's how it happens. So this is the time to get going. Well, Doug, we're coming up on time here, so this is a hard stop. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Merry Christmas, Ron and Marlene.
He's going to rub it into me, Ron. I'm so sorry. Next week, I'm going to be doing this probably from your home over in the suburbs of Washington, D.C.
Good.
Doug's got a wonderful home. I just hope that all of you are going to be able to come in there and visit once. It's like visiting a presidential museum when you see all the pictures and everything on the walls. You won't all be able to come in at the same time, even though it's a large home, but I hope you'll be able to come in and visit with Doug, and we'll be doing it from there. And who knows, maybe we're going to be able to get this webinar up to a certain level whereby we'll have a few pictures of your house on the inside posted on the webinar so people will see it at least on there. Don't you think it'll be fun?
Good, yeah. I don't know how to do it.
Well, thank you, all of you. Next week, surprise guest. And we really enjoyed being here with you. Thank you, Doug, for being on.
Thank you, John. It was an honor.
Okay, good night.
Good night, everybody.